Okay, so I wanted to just talk a little bit about sourdough. Maybe you just like maybe see some stuff that I post about it and you're wondering, just kind of wondering about it. So sourdough bread is a fermented bread. So there's a fermentation part of the process where before the dough gets baked. And so that's what makes it a little bit easier to digest. It's a little bit more friendly on the gut lining. So I kind of learned how to make it a couple months ago and I'm having a lot of fun making it. So really how we've been navigating this is, well, the recipe that I've been using is a baguette recipe. So we make like, well, I'll double the recipe and I'll have like 6 to 8 baguettes. And then I'll freeze half and then we'll kind of eat half and we'll probably go through, I would say like 3 full-size baguettes a week between using it to dip, like I use it to dip in our chicken pot pie earlier this week. Jayla uses it, just has peanut butter bread. And what are some other things? I like to use just as butter bread for like a quick snack. Grass-fed butter and sourdough is a great snack. So those are some ways that I've been able to use it. And then if we have like hamburgers or something on the menu for the week, then we'll just get some additional styles of bread to kind of match those meals. But for the most part, it's been able to serve as our main bread source, which just makes me so happy. So this is the first loaf recipe that I'm trying, and I haven't tried a loaf recipe yet. I've tried to turn the baguette recipe into a loaf recipe, but I haven't had luck with it cooking all the way through. So I don't know really how, because I have tried putting like my baguette bread in this container and then seeing how it cooks, which it ends up being gooey on the inside. So I don't know how this will turn out, but a difference between this and me taking my sourdough recipe or my sourdough baguette recipe and putting it just in the pan and then sticking it in the oven is this one had me roll out the bread into a long flat rectangle and then I rolled it up and then I put the rolled piece of bread in here so you can kind of see it's kind of rolled. You can kind of see it, maybe you can't. But so I'll be interested to see how it turns out. I'm excited because if I can find a way to make it more of like a sandwich bread, then there will be just different functions for it. It's just a larger piece of bread so you can actually use it in different ways. So I'm really excited to try it. But the recipe before, literally the only 2 ingredients are water and flour and your sourdough starter, which is that you've seen me post about it in here before, which is the jar with it's called the sourdough starter. Inside of the jar, and it's fermented water and flour is what it is. And then to keep your starter alive, you have to feed it with flour and water before you use it. And then to kind of keep it alive and active is what they say. You feed it, like if you go like a while without using it, you can feed it to just keep it more active and alive, but you don't have to feed it all the time. So right now it's just in my refrigerator, the mason jar with the fermented part, and it'll just stay in there until I'm ready to make my next loaf. So my previous recipe only called for flour and water as the ingredients, but this recipe called for extra virgin olive oil and salt, water, flour, my starter, I think the only other, and butter. So the only other additional ingredients here were butter, extra virgin olive oil, and salt. So I'm just excited to see what happens, so I'll keep you in the loop.